Yo, I don't mean to scream at y'all, but it is Saturday and it's a beautiful cold day outside. And you are now tuned in to the D&D experience. Thank you for showing up this morning, man. What's going on? I got my player partner, Mr. Hilarious Darius, man. What's going on with you today, sir?
How you doing, sir? I'm doing good. You always give us such amazing intros, so I appreciate you for that. We got a great show lined up for everybody today. Um, you were telling me a story before the podcast started, and it just kind of got me going on this little path. So you were telling me a story about how you had a foot race this weekend.
Mm.
So can you just without you don't have to drop a lot of names or kind of whatever, but can you just give the audience a little bit of a context to the foot race that happened this weekend for you?
Well, yeah, so I've been watching. I kind of said this on the last episode, but I've been watching a lot of Animal Planet, and just this idea of kind of defending your name, defending who you are, it's kind of been in the front of my mind all week. So with that, some competition was just in the air, and I got into a little competitiveness with a friend of mine, and it just led to us kind of racing in the parking lot, 11 o'clock at night, no witnesses, you know what I'm saying? Just really getting it in, man, and to really compete and see who is the fastest. And we end up racing more than one time because when you win, when you get the first win, that really don't count. You know what I'm saying? You got to run it back. And so we end up racing again. And then that led to another separate day where it just came up again. The topic came up, who's the fastest, and we end up racing again. So I got 2 wins under my belt, and then my enemy, he got 2 wins under his belt. So
My
there's going to
enemy.
be another race in the near future. So yeah, man.
So that's interesting because for me, I'm not a foot race person. Like, I'm not a fast person at all. I'm very competitive, but I'm not gonna race anybody. I haven't had a foot race since I was like, I don't know, 15, 14. Like, it's been years since I've raced someone on foot. Like, I'd rather get in my car and just meet you wherever you think you're gonna go, right? Like, that's just not in me. So it just brought up a very interesting topic for me. So I want to talk about athletics, work ethic, and like the mindset of an athlete or just the mindset of competitiveness,
Mm,
right? That's what we're going to talk about today.
okay.
So I'll start off by asking you, for one, do you consider yourself competitive? And two, do you consider yourself athletic?
Ooh. Yes and yes. Yeah, the competitiveness is just, it's in me. And it really doesn't matter what we're playing. It can be cards, it can be basketball, it can be tic-tac-toe on iPhone games. Okay, like it just comes out of me, and I'm like, I gotta win, or you know what I'm saying. I'm trying to peep your strategy and all that. So that's definitely in me. And as far as like athletic, being athletic, yeah, you know what I'm saying? This is why I go to the gym, you know what I'm saying, and work on my tempo. This is why I kind of get my morning walks in my runs in, because I want to stay competitive. And just in case somebody challenged me like they did this past, because you never know. That's why we really in the gym, just in case somebody wants to try you. And I got tried, all right? And I had to defend my name, right? You know what I'm saying? A lot of Animal Planetness coming out of me, but I had to defend my name. So yes to both those questions.
Got you. So for me, I feel like I am competitive, but I do not feel like I am athletic. And I don't necessarily care to be athletic. Um, but I am competitive, but my competitiveness is derived from something different. So for me, I'm not competitive for the sake of winning. I'm competitive when it comes to like trash talking. Like if somebody is talking trash and the skill level is not too far from each other. Like if I can compete with you, you know what I mean? And you're talking trash, mine becomes like, let me out strategize you just to shut you up. You know what I mean? But for you, when you talk about your competitiveness, is it rooted in that you just have to win, or what is it rooted in?
Yeah, so I think it's rooted in, first of all, it's the love of the game. So it depends on like for, let's just talk about basketball. So like I feel like I'm like a Hall of Fame recreational basketball player. Like I've been going to the rec since I was like 7. You feel me? So so like for like basketball, you know, it's more so the love of the game. So if I see you and you guarding me or whatever, and you got a headset, you got like you playing with your shoes untied, or you got your headphones in. I'm like, oh, you don't even respect the game. Oh yeah, I'm about to really come at you. So I think for me, it's like it's more so like the love of the sport. So for basketball, that's kind of where that derives from. If it's something like cards, I'm like, oh, okay. Oh, you talking trash, man. My mama taught me how to play this game. I love this game. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna show you how much I love this game. I'm gonna outbeat you. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's the love. The love, man. That's where it stems from.
Interesting. Okay, so like the love of the sport, the love of the craft, the love of that process. Okay, so for me, yeah, I've never competed for love. I only compete to merely either keep people quiet or to work on my own strategy. Like when okay, so for example, me and you play one-on-one basketball quite a bit, right? And whenever we play, it's never this idea of I want to win to win. I want to win to keep you from talking trash. Cause when you get going, boy, you be going. You just start talking. You be doing fake press interviews, like you being interviewed for a championship. Like you just really start living it up. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not about to go through this again. So it's funny because like when we play basketball, one thing I noticed about you is that you're a very tenacious person. Like you have a high motor. Like you're gonna keep going, keep going, keep going. For me, I don't have that high motor, and I'm very strategic. So it becomes the game of can I out strategize you before you outwork me, right? And sometimes that works, sometimes that doesn't. So I'm curious to know from your point of view, what's your response to me saying that?
Well, I'm gonna let the audience know that strategy doesn't work against me at all.
Whatever. See,
that strategy sounds really good in like Battleship, chess. You know what I'm saying? Sounds really good in that type of realm of games. Yeah, anything basketball? Yeah, no, I'm gonna out strategic you, and before you outwork me. No, you're just gonna get outworked and left behind. I told y'all on the last episode, my right layup is undeniable. All right, I told y'all this. Okay, Darius knows firsthand. Okay, so it's I like that though. I'm not saying you wrong, but I think when it comes to it depends on the sport. It depends on the activity. Maybe that's like works in charades. You know, maybe that's strategy.
Hell, charade. I'm gonna out strategize you for you out.
2 words, 1 syllable. You know what I'm saying? Or Pictionary or something like that. It works in them games.
What you not about to do? You're not about to play me. The games that ain't got no athletic ability.
You said it, bro. You said you're not athletic. I'm trying to meet you in the middle.
Charades and Pictionary. The games that requires you being on one accord with your teammates. You get your eyes all big. You're like, look at me. Look at me.
I'm dead, bro. I am dead, bro. That's hilarious, bro. That's hilarious. I'm dead, bro.
Oh, that's funny, bro. That's funny. That's funny. So, okay. So that brings me to my next topic. Did you play sports growing up?
Ooh. No. And that had a lot to do.
You didn't play sports?
Well, I mean, I made teams, never stayed on them long enough. play quarter seasons. Never play half the season. Play like a quarter. Got the first home game. Played the you know what I'm saying, the preseason game. Got like maybe a home game in, made some practices. But that was about it. You know what I'm saying? See, my competitiveness, even though I'm so high competitiveness, that didn't really work in school. So my teacher was like, "Oh, I'm about to out-strategize this guy. He stays off the court." I'm trying to keep him off the court, and they won every time. They out-strategize me every time. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, "Come on, man, I'm trying to play some more." They're like, "No, I'm trying to outwork you." I got outworked in the classroom. That's why I could never stand on the team.
That's funny as heck, bro. So what sports did you get a little taste of?
Football in seventh grade. I got a little taste of that, and that was exciting because everybody in seventh grade was just really excited about football. It was like as soon as you get to seventh grade, you excited to play some sports. So it was that, you know what I'm saying? So like, staying after school and doing all the cardio in the we called them dragon drills. We had to run and drop down and get up and run and all that stuff. I endured all that and end up competing for running back position. So check this out, right? So, man, I'm in the seventh grade and I don't even have my cleats yet. You feel me? And we were suited up and we had to race to see who was going to see who's the fastest. So we was trying to compete for the running back position, and I had on the wrong shoes, and the dude I was going against had on. He was ready. He had helmet, shoes, gloves on. He was so ready, and he got the best of me that day. He raced me and dusted me. I didn't catch no grip on that turf. You know what I'm saying? And lost, and they ended up putting me on defense because I lost so bad. They was like, "We ain't gonna put you on offense. We'll have you on defense, middle linebacker." You feel me? So, yeah, that was a that was a one of the football experiences I had. So yeah, did you want me to dive a little bit more?
Well, what I'll do is, so for me, I did play a lot of. It's funny because as you were telling that story, I was thinking about all the sports I played growing up, and I did play a lot. Well, got a chance to be on teams. Whether or not I played in actual games, that's a different question, right? So, but growing up, I think I did soccer. I tried out for basketball, football, wrestling, track, and all of my sports stories. If you name the sport, I can tell you a traumatic experience that I had with that sport where I realized, okay, this ain't my game, right? Like, it don't matter what you like. It was a moment, in doing it where I was like, yeah, this ain't me. And just to give the audience a little bit more insight, so with me, I'm not willing to give 110% when it comes to athletics. I'm just not. Like, because for me, being an athlete requires you to be at your peak performance for a consistent period of time, right? And I struggle with, I can be consistent, right? But when I have to be at a high level for a consistent period of time, I just struggle with that, right? So, I mean, I got a lot of stories running through my head right now, but I was on football too. And I'm curious to know, for you, can you share with the audience your crowning moment, like your glory moment when you were in football?
Yeah, okay. So we had a home game, right? And I was on B team. I ain't gonna lie, I was on B team, and we was going against our rivals at the time. And I was a middle linebacker, all right? So I was a little bit bigger and quick twinkle toes on the feet, but I was a little bit bigger. So I remember that my crowning moments when I kept attacking the center of the opposite team. So the guy who hikes the ball, I kept lighting him up. You know what I'm saying? He was like my he was my dinner. I'm like, I'm about to eat this guy up, man. This guy he's dead meat to me, man. And it's funny because like he only had the ball for like a brief second. You know what I'm saying? Like the quarterback should have been my main target, but it wasn't. It was like, I'm about to eat this shit up because he was just kind of like, I think I hit him one time and he kind of like gave me one of those. I was like, oh, okay. All right, run it back. Come on. Nope. Run it back. Let's go. I was in my 3-point stance. I was like, oh, you dead meat to me. And I just kept lighting him up, bro. And like I remember it got to the point where like we ended up winning the game. And I remember like my coach pulled me out. Cause you know B team plays first, you know what I'm saying? So like my coach pulled me out. He's like, yo, D man, you played a hell of a game, man. I was like, yeah, baby, you know what I'm talking about? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Kept lighting them up. But I at the same time, I don't know if that's really true because like he protected his quarterback. I never got to the quarterback, so I'm sure like when he went to the sideline, his coach was like, man, there you go, baby. You played a hell of a game. He did not touch our quarterback, man. So I think it was like a win, lose situation. I don't know. It was a win for me, but at the same time, you know, I didn't really get to my goal. I just kept lighting them up, you know what I'm saying? But I impressed my coach in that short stint of a season. So, you know, as always, I always tell that story. That's one of my favorites. Don't be a center in front of me.
That center picked up every blitz. Every time you blitz, he just picked you up.
Yeah, it was a lot of that. Like, a lot. You know what I'm saying? Big old dude, man. I don't know why I thought I could take him on, man.
Okay, so here's the funny thing. So you talked about how like me trying to have that out strategy approach to sports. Like it just depends on what sport it is, right? So here's a funny story. I didn't tell you this one earlier. So when I was in Chicago, my mom, first of all, didn't want me to play football because she thought it was too violent. And I was a small dude. Like, I'm still relatively a small I'm at a decent size right now. But yeah. I've always been, like, a smaller person, right? So he's like, yeah. So, I like to take shots. So,
I think you're not as small as you used to be. I think you're pretty regular size now.
So I was probably, like, less than 100 pounds, right? So she let me play football my freshman year, right? I'm telling you, bro, 2 weeks into the freshman year, I broke my wrist, right? And so there's two stories that I remember specifically. So we were doing the football drill where you lay on the ground. You got one player right here, one player right here, one player has the football, one player is a tackler. They blow the whistle, both people come up, they run into each other, and then whoever wins like just gets hyped up and then you have to rotate or whatever. So I came from 8th grade and there was this dude, he was about the same size as me, if not smaller. And he was in the drill in front of me. And he was the person with the ball. And they blew the whistle. They jump up. He gets hit so hard. He folds like a folding chair, right? Ball flies out. He's in pain. Like he broke a rib or something. He gets up and just walks off the field, right? He walks in the locker room, does not come back, right? He's like, I'm done with this. I'm next. So I see that, and I'm next. I said, God dog, like, what am I gonna do if he got folded like that? So I used to run straight up. So in football, a lot of it is about leverage and kind of staying lower than the competitor, keeping your pads low. So I used to run straight up. So that first play, I got hit real hard. But somebody always told me, no matter how hard you get hit, just get back up. Don't let them know you're in pain, just get back up. So I popped up. So everybody's all right, cool. Then the next play, I'm the tackler. I get ran over. Like, it was terrible, bro. I got ran over. I was like, God, dog, let me do this. So the funny thing is, when people were picking the positions, I noticed that the offensive linemen ran the least. So when it came to like receivers, skill positions, they ran the most. I told my coach, I said, hey, I want to be an offensive lineman. So I wanted to be the center that you kept hitting, right? But I was super small. I was super small, bro. I'm like 90 pounds. And I'm trying to be like a offensive center. Just a lineman. And these dudes are big dudes. So I'm doing all their drills, and I'm noticing they drills don't require as much like running. So I'm over there, they doing the drill where they on their knees and they hit the pad and all this other stuff. And I'm trying with all my little might hitting the little pad. And it was funny because they were like, all right, Darius, we're not gonna let you be able to be a set, offensive lineman because you're too small. We don't want you to get hurt, right? And then so they moved me to like I think like linebacker or something like that. So I have a very similar story. So we were in practice, and it was this dude. He was a basketball star. He was a football. This dude was a stud, bro. And he was running the ball, and I was like a linebacker. He got through everybody else in the defense, and he was running straight towards me to try to run me over. Right. So I decided to duck my head as low as I could get it to get it under his chin. This is illegal too. You can't even do this. And I tried to hit him in his chin with the top of my helmet. Right. And you have a disapproving look. So
Yes. Sounds horrible.
So he's about to run me over. I get lower than him, and I hit him, right? So everybody started going crazy, like, yeah, Darius, yeah, that's the way you do it. You hit him, you got him hard, right? So because of that, they were like, all right, we're gonna make you the middle linebacker since you're a hard hitter. I was like, I am not really a hard hitter. I just didn't want to get ran over, you know what I mean? So I played a game. I was on the B team as well. And my crowning moment, my glory moment was the quarterback threw a pass. I reached up, the ball hit this hand, right? I'm like, oh, snap, I'm about to get an interception. So I go to bring it down, right? And I got this hand right here, but I got it like over here. So instead of me catching the interception, I throw the ball on the ground, right? And everybody was like, what you supposed to do? It's like, what? You can't catch, whatever. So I don't know, bro. Like I that was my crowning moment. Is I just swat the ball down, and then just throughout the year, or whatever, I didn't play a lot. So that was the only moment I kind of got on the court, and then on the court, on the field, and then I got a bunch of stories like that, bro. But I'm curious to know for you, right? When it comes to your mindset as an athlete, and when we talk about your work ethic, how would you describe your work ethic today? Like now that you're in the workforce.
Dang. Workforce. That's a team itself, right? I'm in the workforce team.
Where's the center? Workforce. I want to hit the center on the workforce.
I play for the workforce. Oh my goodness. That's funny. I would say like my work ethic is like, man, it's kind of similar to like just trying to be like the best version of myself. I think like, because I don't really have like I like what I like what I do, but ain't like no deep love for the game. Ain't no love for the job like that. So
that's hilarious.
I think it's kind of like a different approach. I think when I'm in the workforce, it's like, okay, I want to be the best version of myself. I want to be present. I want to be making sure that the people who I'm serving are getting the best experience they're getting. So I go into like a serve type of mode, and that's how I kind of approach like the workforce. But I think like to connect the two, I think they are similar. I think me, like competitive wise, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to prove to like my competitor that, yo, I am about this life, and I am serious, and I do love this. You know what I'm saying? So I think it does connect, because like in the workforce, you know what I'm saying, it's not as aggressive. You know what I'm saying? I'm just more so like, okay, you know what I'm saying, I want to be the best version of me today, and I want to make sure they good. You know what I'm saying? So it's just less I don't know. I feel like I got more of a teammate with the because I'm in customer service. So I feel like it's more of a teammate type thing. Like I'm here to serve, make sure you good. You know what I'm saying? You gonna make sure I'm good. We just communicating, versus like in sports, I'm like, I'm trying to outshine you, dog. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I kind of relate the two topics.
So how do you handle pressure, similar to how a coach will pressure you to try to get the most out of you as an athlete?
Mm,
In the workforce, you have supervisors, managers who try to push you, and everybody's management style is different, similar to how everybody's coaching style is different, to try to pull the best out of you, right? So in the workforce, when you have managers that are just pushing you and pushing you and pushing you to try to get you to whatever peak performance is in that position, with not even just your current position, but just throughout your work career, how have you handled that?
ooh. Oh. Um. Well, man, I think I've handled it. I think I've, rose to the occasion, rise to the occasion, whatever. But I mean, it's kind of, kind of weird because like it just depends on the job. So like when I used to be a server, and I remember like I had one manager that I really got along with, and they would be willing to like help and stuff like that. Like whenever I got like a little too overwhelmed, we used to say when you're in the weeds, right? If you're in the weeds, that means like you just got too much going on. You know what I'm saying? You need some assistance. Um,
Hmm.
so that worked well. But like when when I was a servant, I got another manager who was more so like, why are you moving slow? And like, you know what I'm saying? Like, why this person don't got drinks? He like, yo, like, why aren't you ain't helping me? You know what I'm saying? You see I'm behind.
Yeah.
So, you know, yeah, I think for me, like I just try to focus on like what I can do and like how I can be the best version of myself. Like, and then, some days I got other stuff going on in my mind, and that can kind of, what I'm saying, slow me down. But I try my best to like leave my ego at the door and just try to be the best version and try to serve, man. So I think that's my tranquility of like work. You know what I'm saying? That's how I kind of approach the game of work. And I think I meet my requirements. Now, do I meet everybody else's requirements all the time? You know what I'm saying? Depends on the job. Depends on the environment. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes they like, oh, dang, brother. Yeah. You moving slow, or like, you should have did this. And, I get a lot, you know what I'm saying? But I think that's just expected in the workforce because, it's so unpredictable. You know what I'm saying? One moment you can be cool and
Yeah.
calm, and then the next moment, you know, somebody's bleeding. You got to call it 911. It just depends. Yeah, they didn't require
That's
you. Yeah, that's it, man.
but it's interesting because like for me, like I've said multiple times, I'm a hard worker, but I'm naturally like a lazy person. So I feel like my approach in sports has moved over into the workforce, but I don't mind I don't mind being a addition to the team, but I always feel like I'm never where the top person is. Like I can respect the work ethic of a top person, and I'll have it like as a mental goal, but just knowing myself, I'm like, okay, what is driving that person does not drive me,
Yeah,
right? Because some people like to work for the sake of just working. Like they like the fulfillment of being like, I put in a good day's work. Like when they go home and take their shoes off, they're like, yes, today was a good work day. Like I don't have that. I don't
yeah,
have that. You know what I mean? Like I think for me, because I also feel like there's a difference in being busy versus being productive,
yeah,
right? And I always strive to be productive because you can be busy just doing a bunch of goofy stuff all
yeah,
day. You can do busy work for 8 hours a day, but are you really being productive and are you really advancing um, as a person? And I think one thing that I struggle with is I'm always seeking growth. And sometimes I feel like the visions, when you get into the workforce, the vision you may have for yourself may be different than the vision that the job has for you because they need you to serve a certain purpose. Like when you apply for a job, you're saying, hey, I can do X, Y, and Z. So they need you to do that. And I think sometimes when you start outgrowing that, or even if your circumstances don't reflect that mindset or whatever. So that's something that I always kind of have struggled with. And I'll tell a funny story for the audience. So I used to work at this grocery store. And when I tell you I worked at this grocery store, and this was the hardest working group of people I've ever been around. Like, they were great people, but they loved a good days of hard work, right?
Yeah.
And one time, and they would always comment to tell me, like, hey, we need you to be faster. We need you to be faster. We need you to be faster. Like, you're not fast enough. You're not fast enough. Now, I felt like I was doing a good job. And I felt like I was hustling and bustling, but I didn't meet their standards of fast. So one time they pulled me aside and they said, hey, I want to show you some footage of how you ring up versus how this coworker of yours rings up. So, so they showed me the footage. They speed the right, and when they show me the footage, not only am I going ungodly fast, but the girl behind me, who already is up to the speed and excels at speed than me, she's just like shoot, 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 shoot. And it was like at that moment, I knew I was like, I'm gonna have to quit this job because I'm not gonna be able to. I'm not gonna be able to meet that standard.
That
You know what I
man
mean?
knew.
And it's
That man
funny
knew.
because another quick, I knew, and I know in most positions when they give me a quota, and it's not this idea that I'm not willing to meet the challenge, but it's this idea that once you do, and we won't accept anything less than, I'm like, oh Jesus, what did I just do to myself? You know what I mean? So,
That man
so
not
I
trying to
think
get
for
out thought.
me,
That's what it
that's what.
was. He ain't trying to get out thought. Oh, okay. You're tricking me. You want me to work this hard so I can stay working this hard, so I'll be stuck here forever. That's what it is. Okay.
Yeah, I don't like
Well,
being out strategized. Don't, you can outwork me, but don't try to hustle me into me outworking myself. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like that. I don't like that.
That's funny.
So, it's funny because I remember in high school, I used to sell Gatorades, right? And the moment I decided to sell Gatorades was we were doing like a race. And I've never believed in giving like 110% in sports. Like, because I feel like I'm exhausted and I just can't push myself through. If I'm tired, I'm not going to push myself through for the rest of practice.
You should have
No,
been
I'm
on
going
the yearbook club. You should have been. Well, you got all year to get your stuff done.
I can pace myself.
You got all year. You're taking your time, you know. I'll mess with you.
That's hilarious. But no, bro, I swear to you, I have never believed in giving even 100% or 90% or like 70. I've never believed in just giving my all to a sport because that love was never there. Like, I don't do stuff for the love of the game. Like, it's just like, nah, there has to be something more than that. I can't just do it for the love of something that don't matter. You know what I mean? Like, so what did you love the game? You know? So I think I'm like, no, I'm doing this. I joined the team to try to get girls. If I'm being honest, I joined the team.
You know what? You know what? You should have been in the bed. You know what I'm saying? Where you can work on, you can see your time in the craft progress. You would have been around a whole bunch of girls because you would have been traveling with the team. You would have been with the girls in the stands, though. You could have went to HBCU. Then you would have had all the shorties because all the shorties know like dudes in the band in HBCU. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
But I'm telling you, bro.
I love this.
I joined sports to try to attract girls. I never did it for the love of the sport. I never did it for anything like that. I did it for like selfish reasons. Girls and money, right? So
you should have seen if Cat Williams was having like a pimpin' event so you can get you some girls. I'm done. That's funny. I wanted that.
But if I'm being honest, because like you're saying, and that was such an interesting topic when you said
should have
like,
joined the dance team. You should have joined the dance team because girls like a guy who can dance. You could have been a young Chris Brown. I'm done. That's it. All right, go ahead. I'm gonna let you
But,
finish.
but what's funny is that, like, when you talk about this idea of doing something for the love of the sport, like, I've never loved something like that. You know what I mean? Like a sport or, well, see, I feel like comedy kind of falls into that, but I'm sometimey with comedy. Like the love is there sometimes. I like the art of something.
You wouldn't
You know what I
you
mean?
wouldn't
But
kiss
the love of it.
comedy in public in the mouth. You wouldn't be like, oh, you only kiss on
I'm
the
a
low
very
low.
private person.
You ain't about to kiss in front of everybody. Comedy?
I don't want comedy to know. I don't want the world to know I love you. Comedy?
What?
Have some modesty.
Is there
So,
okay, let me
so
hold on. Let me before I let you finish the story. Is there anything right now that you feel that you love that's something like a hobby or activity that you like, man, I love this, man. I'll put in some work for this.
see, but yes, but I don't love it for the sake of loving it. It's
Okay.
I'm interested in it. I'm passionate about it because it's a means to some other goal.
So what
So
is the
if it's
love?
that, it can.
Is it just like I want to live comfortable? Is that the love? It's like I want to
It's the okay. So if it's the love of something, maybe the love of the challenge,
okay.
right?
Okay.
So I love challenges and puzzles for the fulfillment of solving them. So when I look at these different things, it's the challenge of, okay, how can I become financially independent,
Mm,
right? The challenge is that I'm living X, Y, and Z. My circumstances are this, right? So the challenge is how do I get on the other side of this? Or when it comes to like wealth and health
yeah.
and like spirituality and all these others, like, okay, the challenge is I'm underdeveloped in this area.
Got you.
So
Got
how
you.
can I get to this point? So the things that I like, it's a means to get to that ultimate, more fulfilled version of myself, to reach my peak performance as a human being
So you
versus to reach
love
peak
being
performance.
uncomfortable. That's what it sounds like. Love being uncomfortable. That's your
I,
love right there. I need to be uncomfortable. Give me a challenge so I can be uncomfortable, so I can thrive through this challenge right here. That's what it sounds like. That's what the love stems from. And that's not a bad thing. Okay. Because if you're not,
well, and
I was just gonna say
go ahead, go
if
ahead.
you are if you are going through life and you're not being challenged, that's the issue. You're not growing. You know what I'm saying? So you got to be uncomfortable. So that's not a bad thing. I like that. I like that.
Well, and it's interesting too because I read a book, the book that I'm reading right now, The Wealthy Gardener. There's a line in it where he says, like, he's quoting somebody else, and he says that, like, don't pray that your problems fit your circumstances or like your ability to handle them. Pray that you have the strength to handle whatever problem comes towards you. So pray that you have a skill set bigger to handle whatever problem comes to you versus praying that the problem is small enough so that your current self can handle it. Right.
Mm.
So for me, yeah, I think I love the process of figuring something out to help me reach to that ultimate goal. So it's funny because, like I was saying with the sports story, I remember one time they made everybody run and like run across the track. And I had just moved down to Texas and I went to a predominantly white school. So everybody thought that I was just this super fast athlete. So I finally got cleared and I could run on the track with them. And everybody was just kind of making whispers like, oh, we're going to win the championship with this guy. I heard he broke records, blah, blah, blah. So they shoot the little gun. They say, go. And I always believed that white people and like other races weren't fast, right? I was clearly, that myth was
Wait,
clearly debunked.
wait. That man learned that lesson real quick.
Real quick. I thought white boys was fast. Them white boys run like they chasing privilege. Like they about to lose. Like they about to lose their like they about to lose their privilege in
That's
America.
funny.
They
That was
was
funny.
running.
That was funny. That's funny right there.
So, so I'm running as hard as I could. You know, as hard as my brain would allow me to run. I'm sure I could have probably ran faster, but I'm like, I'm
Your
not about
brain was like,
I'm not about
your brain said, I don't know.
you got second period after this.
Oh my goodness.
You gotta you got algebra after this. Do you really want to be mentally tired
Did
in algebra?
did you
So
bring your favorite deodorant today? I don't know. You brought the speed stick. You didn't bring degree. You're not ready to be musty for the whole day. That's funny.
so, so we run. I lose. I'm the last person in this race, right? But at that moment, I realized, like, huh, these dudes are exhausted. Maybe they need something to drink. Maybe I should sell them some Gatorade. So I began to start this Gatorade operation, like empire. I started in my sophomore year. And essentially, by the time I became a senior, I had like underclassmen working for me. I made it a super passive operation. Like I would be in class and I would be collecting money by second period of all the Gatorade that I sold. I had a point where other people were storing the Gatorade. I had it to the point where like other people were pretty much getting it for me and selling it. It was awesome. So I guess in my mind, trying to find a way to find a need in the marketplace, serve it, and then automate it to that point. Like the exact same thing I did when I was like 17 years old. What's the today's version of that, right? So that's just really funny that we kind of talk about sports and then the work ethic and the workforce, and it all kind of ties together.
Oh yeah.
So for you, because that was a good question you asked me about what do I love for the sake of loving it. So for you today, what do you have the love of for the sake of loving it?
You gonna hit me with my own question, huh? I would say, I would say, probably, maybe kind of similar to what you were saying, like solving problems, but I think like maybe like proving to myself that I can like. So I guess the same thing, but just in my own words, kind of proving to myself that I can handle this situation. Because I feel like for me, anytime I get a new task, I'm kind of like, okay, I'm not good at it. I'm gonna be frank. I'm not really, when it comes to new stuff, I'm not really good at it. So like, I like to kind of like just stick with it. And okay, what you need? All right, cool. I'm gonna try this. You know what I'm saying? And just get to the point where I'm like really, really good at the task. So there is a love of like proving that I can handle this. Cause I feel like I get this, like people see that I can't handle a task. They're like, okay, yeah. They get all these like, I think that they're thinking that I'll never be able to handle this task. So it's like, okay, I got to show you that I'm, you know what I'm saying, I can handle this. I may come up, because, you know, with a lot of stuff, for me, you know, I feel like I left my mama house with like a certain set of skills, you know what I'm saying? So when I got on my own, it's like, okay, you know what I'm saying, I need to learn how to do this, you know what I'm saying? And yes, these skills worked for this environment, but like now I got to kind of start from scratch. So, yeah, just that idea of like, okay, man, I want to, you know what I'm saying, master this, man, and be good at it, you know? So that's I think for me, that's kind of my love and like my approach to everything. So whether that's like a class, a subject matter, I'm like, okay, I just need to kind of put in some work. You know what I'm saying? I need to really like isolate myself and really figure it out. Or I need to go ask a question. You know, if I'm at work, it's like, okay, I need to go ask a question. Okay, how'd you do this? Okay. So, you know, just investigating and trying to really invest in like that task and figure it out. So that's where the love come in at, man.
So for you, would you say that you love dentistry? Like, do you have a love for dentistry?
That is a great question. I think it's more so it's like a yes in regards of like I think of the service part more so than I guess the love of like just like cleaning teeth. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, the idea of like, ooh, I get to clean a tooth today. That doesn't really excite me. I think it's more so like
gingivitis. Yeah.
Ooh, you know, but I think being a person in a position where I can like serve in that industry and like really like help people like with their smile and also kind of educate people and be an inspiration and really kind of take that to the next level, you know, it's kind of like how I kind of look at it. So like I just need to find out how to get good at it and then take it to the next level. Like I'm more excited about how I could take that thing to the next level and be just a boss. Once I break in, because you know, you got to figure it. Yeah, I'm trying to figure that out. You know, I'm just trying to hustle and bustle. So, but yeah, that's my response.
Gotcha. So my final question for this episode of the podcast is, when it comes to, actually, before I say that, let me preface this. So one time my cousin told me, he said, nobody strives to be the second best at something, right? He said that when you do something, nobody's like, yeah, I just want to be the second. I want to be the second in the world. I don't care to be the first, right? And I thought that was an interesting topic, or an interesting comment. But for you, do you strive to be the best at everything that you do?
Mm-hmm.
Or are you okay with being mediocre or just decent enough at certain things? Because I can give you my answer in a second, but I want to know for you, do you strive to be the best at everything or no?
No, man. I think I strive to kind of be the best that I can be. So I think I'm at a point where I'm like, I see the best around me, like, okay, yo, she's really good at that. Or yeah, she's really, she handled that or he handled that really well. So I'm like, okay, I know for me that first of all, for me to kind of be in the space with people, I'm like, okay, I know I'm deserving to be here. So I just need to focus on being like the best version of myself and just sharpening my skills. So like I don't look at like I want to be better. I used to kind of think like that, like I want to be better than that person. I want to be, but I think for me, I'm like, that ain't really the race you want to run because I don't know their background, their passion for this, you know what I'm saying? I gotta kind of like dig deep within myself, you know what I'm saying, and kind of just naturally nurture my talents like a plant and just keep watering and changing the soil out and stuff. So that's how I kind of look at like me approaching like anything. Like, okay, I just want to be the best version I can be in this space for myself. You know what I'm saying? I just want to be my best version. So whether that's learning how to play the piano, I'm gonna be the best version of that. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna
Make
learn
a
how to
theme
play
song.
Dilemma. Yeah, I'm gonna learn to play Dilemma, and I'm gonna serenade all the honeys because playing sports ain't gonna get it. I'm gonna learn how to play the piano. So, but what's your answer, man?
Man, I agree with you, bro. Like when he said that, I thought it was interesting because and he was talking to me in reference to like comedy. Because it was funny because my cousin was always very honest with me. So I told him one time that I wanted to be, because I'm a huge fan of like Adrian Peterson. He's a running back in the NFL. But I've been a fan of his since he came in the league. And I remember one time I told him, I was like, yo, I'm going to be the next running back. And he was like, that ain't going to happen. And he was like, you're not fast enough. You're not athletic. You don't, that's not going to happen. Then one time I told him my dream character to play as like an actor or whatever, is I wanted to play like Static Shock. And I think actually Michael B. Jordan is producing a Static Shock movie coming out pretty soon. So, but I told him, I said, yo, I want to be like Static Shock. He was like, that ain't gonna happen. And he was telling me, I said, well, Thor, he transformed his body to become Thor. He said Thor was like 6'3", 180 and transformed. He's like, you're like 120. That's not gonna happen, right? So, but I told him, I said, man, I want to pursue this comedy thing because I think I can really like make a difference. And he was like, I could see you doing that. So it was interesting that this was the first thing that he actually kind of like believed in based off the skill set that I had or whatever the case may be. But it was funny because that was when he told me like, nobody ever strives to be the second best anything. You know what I mean? Try to be the best. And it's funny because I agree with you where I used to have that mindset in my youth of like, oh, I want to be better than this person, where now I wonder can I have an excellent life by being mediocre at things, right? Do I have to be the best at something in order to excel, right? Can I be decent enough and still be successful? And I think it just depends on how you define success. But yeah, I mean, I was just wondering, like, because even with the comedy, I'm like, okay, say I'm not the funniest, say I never reach Chappelle, Kevin Hart level of success, can I still dominate comedy the way that I want to? Right. And even with me not wanting, like, I ain't trying to be on the road. Like, these comedies, bro, they grind. Like, it's a grind to get to where you're at the level of a Chappelle or Kevin Hart. But even you can grind like that and people may not know about you, but you might be the funniest person in the world. So for me, it's just like, okay, how can I be happy with what I do? Right. At the end of the day, what does comedic success look like for me? Like, I love the art of crafting a bit. Right. I love the art of taking something and creating it out of thin air, and just that whole process. Like, that's why I love this podcast, because like we create jokes like it's nobody's business. And I'm like, yo, this is, and I start breaking it down in my brain, like, oh man, he did this, he took this joke, he took this setup, blah, blah. So I enjoy that process. Um, but do I enjoy the grind of having to beg for stage time, of having to beg for representation, having to beg for somebody to give you an opportunity? I don't care for that part, right? But I like the art of the craft of crafting the joke. But when it comes to putting yourself on, I'm like, well, if I can find a system, I can put myself on. Like, I don't need you to put me on. So that's kind of the conundrum. I know we said that word earlier before the podcast, but that's kind of the conundrum that I'm in. But yeah, man, I thought this was a very good episode. It was a bit all over the place from time to time as we kind of tried to reel it in and stuff like that. But what parting words do you have for the audience in relations to this particular topic?
Okay. I just want to say, you can do anything you put your mind to. We all have a set of skills. Find out what they are. And if you're looking to elevate yourself, your mind, your body, and your spirit, go follow my boy Malcolm, Fitness by Malcolm. You feel me? Go follow him. Yo, he gave us inspiration for this podcast episode today. So, yo, go follow my man on Instagram. I'm gonna put his info in the bio. And yeah, that's it.
Bet. Yeah, I think for me, I don't know necessarily what parting words I want to have for the audience, but just this, I think if anything, continue to self-assess. Because what's cool about us kind of having this dialogue is that we begin to explore things about one another and about ourselves as we talk through it. Right. So I think for the audience, I would challenge you guys to continue to self-assess and really pay attention to what makes you you, and how can you optimize the best versions of you or the best parts of yourself to achieve your fullest potential. And I guess that's kind of the journey that I'm on right now. So, but yeah, man, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. This has been a great episode, and we'll see you guys again next week.
Yes, sir. Like he said, man. Hasta luego, man. We love y'all.